In this screencast, we're going to discuss once you've created your student portal and you've gone into your student portal account and you've clicked in the upper right hand corner, go to Moodle, this is the screen that will appear. Okay, and this I want to go over the interface of this screen and then the interface of when you first drop into your class. So what you'll find here is you'll see that you have My Courses, and you'll have a list of the course that you're enrolled in, and it will also give you the instructor's name. Now, by clicking on the name of the course, it'll drop you into the course, which we'll do in a minute. If I bring you over here to the right a little bit, you'll see that you have a course description. Okay, it kind of gives you the idea, a little bit of information on what the course is and what the course description is. This should match up with the student catalog and the student course description. You'll see if we go even further over to the right that there's a calendar. Okay, and if we come underneath the calendar, you'll see that there is a list of online users, and if you wanted to communicate with them, you could simply click on their name and send them a message, something we'll show later, sorry. Also here under messages, if you had a message from anyone, it would appear you'd have a little envelope here in the beginning. Title of the message would be there in blue, and you'd click on it and you'd be able to go in and read the message. If for any reason you needed to log out, up here in the right hand corner would be your student name, and you could log out. Okay, that's kind of what this initial page will look like when you drop in. So let's go and click on the class name and see what it looks like when you drop into a class. Now, I do want to preface, each class will look different. There's not going to be kind of a standard formality. There are some similarities, and there are some features that will be there, but it could have a different look. Okay, so when we drop into this initial class, this instructor, she has a banner up here at the top that obviously resonates with the name of the class. That could be different, all right, depending on what your class is. But let's go through this a little bit, some of the interface here. In the upper left-hand corner will always be your breadcrumb trail, and this will allow you to be able to navigate and know which page you were previously on or what page you're on right now. So if we were to click Baker there, we would go back to that initial page and drop in. So every time you move past a page, the previous pages will show in blue, and you can all back. If you notice here under People, you see the participants icon. All right, if you were to click on that, you'd see all the users of the course, which is something we'll talk a little bit more about later. You have an activities block, and this would be a list of what all the activities are within the class. And so by clicking on, for instance, let's click on Forms. And so by clicking on Forms, it drops you into a list of all the forms. Okay, now you got to keep in mind this would be a list of all of them. So if I scroll down, you see the forms for week 1, because those are what are available. And these are forms that are in that initial opening block that I'll point out to you, some of the features in there. And so it gives you a list of what they are, and gives you a little bit of a description of what they are. Okay, and if we come over here to the right, it gives you the idea of if you're subscribed to it, and if you subscribe to something, it means that every time a post is made to it, it'll send you an email. So unless you want a lot of email hitting your account, I wouldn't do that necessarily. But if it's particular to you've made a forum post and you want an update when someone posts to it, that could be helpful. And this lets you know how many discussions have been posted. Okay, so let's go back just to kind of give you an idea of how that works and how that looks. And so it would be like that for each one of those. It'd give you a list of all that are available and open for you at the time. So it's a good way to keep track of what activities are. Down here you'd be able to search forms. Okay, underneath this one, the administration block, notice here you have your grades. You could click on that to access your grades. You have your profile, which is something we'll talk about in a future video, how to go in and adjust your profile and some of the features in your profile. And you also notice the course name is right here. Okay, now I want to scroll your screen over to the right, because on the right hand side of a course you have more blocks. Now this may not appear in every course. This is an add-on for an instructor, but this particular instructor has put a calendar in the course, and calendars can have information in it related to the course. She's also put a picture of her textbook in there that she's using. That again may not appear in every course. I'm scrolling here. You see recent activity. This gives you an idea of what some of the activity that's been in the course. Again, this may or may not be available depending on what the instructor decides. Now, latest news down here, this goes with the news form. Anytime, depending on how the instructor has it set, whenever a post is made to the news form, which only the instructor can do, and it may not always be called news form, the instructor may name it something else, but I'll show you where it appears. It appears in every course and it can't be taken away. That if there was an announcement made in it, you would see the beginning of the title of the announcement down here in blue, and if you clicked on it, it would take you to it. So it's a good way to stay updated with any mass information the instructor posts for the course. So let's bring you back over this way to the left. You back up here. Top part. There's some aspects that will appear in the top part for every course. One is, you see here, the news form. That's always in there. It's a place for where announcements are held for the entire course. Okay, and every student is subscribed to it, so you have to, you will have access to it. That could be renamed, but it's always going to appear in the top. Okay, you have an ask a question form. That's going to be in the majority of your courses. You may find some that may have it worded a little differently, but it's an area to be able to communicate or post that everyone else in the class can read and the instructor can respond to for any questions. Your course syllabus will appear at the top, and your course materials will appear at the top as far as a list of what they are and what you need. And that'll be important because that course syllabus is going to drive you week in and week out on what's going on in the course. Okay, and just to give you an idea of how this course is laid out by week, you know it's laid out because this first week here, the dates are in this top box, and you see it labeled week 1. If we scroll through down, you see she has week 1 goals posted. Okay, if we come down further, you start to see you have some activities posted. There's a quiz. This little icon here, that represents a PowerPoint. Okay, so you can upload a PowerPoint, so when you see that, you know you're going to view a PowerPoint. And notice down here, if I scroll down, she has left it where you don't see anything in here. That doesn't mean that there isn't any content. It just means it's not available yet to the student because the instructor wants the student to focus on 1 week at a time. This block at the very top where the icon is, where the banner is, I should say, will always be open. And then depending on which week you're in and how the instructor does it, other weeks may or may not be available. And so that's the general overview of what a course interface looks like. And you know, it's going to have kind of this formation and fluidity to it as far as the center part with columns on the right and the left with different blocks in it. The blocks may change a little bit, but some blocks like the activities, the participants, the administration, and my courses, those blocks will always be there on the left hand side.